Okay, Jordan, this is for you from Flute Sleuts. Dungeons and Dragons Next. This was the game that was play tested by a very large portion of the community way back before the original release of Dungeons and Dragons 5e. It was called D&D Next. It got released in 2014, but we were playing the game in beta and alpha before that. And I was part of the beta test and the alpha play test. And one of the things they promised, and this is the thing I really want to say, is one of the things that they promised is they promised us 3 versions of the game. 3 versions of the game. What does that mean? Well, we were going to get the basic game, then there was the standard game that most people would probably play, and then there was the advanced game that some people who liked complexity would play. Now you might be saying, well, Fred, we do have the basic game. It's a PDF. You can download it. And we have the standard game. That's the player's handbook. And the advanced game is all the variant rules in the player's handbook and the Dungeon Master Guide. But what you are failing to understand is that's not actually the true engine we were looking for and that was promised. What we got was in fact a differing scale with regard to the basic rules, and the standard game is actually the same core rules. The only difference is player options. Now, of course, you have reduced options. You've made it simpler for the basic game because there's less options to play with unless you go and use the standard game and get the player's handbook. And then when we go to the Dungeon Master Guide, well, now we're playing, there's a few more player options in the Dungeon Master Guide, and there's also all of the magic items, and then of course we have some variant rules that change the core rules. So what we essentially got was we got 2 rule systems. We got one core rule system, which is now the 5e basic game and the standard game, and then we got whatever you wanted to call whatever you've created as your advanced game at your table. That's the second one. So there's only 2 core rule systems. The one that we know of and the one that you create. That's it. And then of course player advancement stuff and all of the character stuff, that's another animal in itself. And what Dungeons and Dragons needs right now is it needs 3 rule systems. I mean, at the core of the game, not the player options. That's actually really unimportant. I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but this is what we need. This is what we were promised. We need a basic game so simple that a 5-year-old could understand how to play it. That's how simple the core rules need to be. That doesn't dumb down Dungeons and Dragons. That just means that those people who have kids and are parents can play with their kids because they want to. And when you grow up a little bit older and you have kids of your own, you'll want to do the same. And then we have the standard game. Now the standard game will be very much the game that we play now. And then the advanced game will be all of the variant rules that we get out of the Dungeon Master Guide. It's the core rule system that needs to have that 3-step. If we have that 3-step, Dungeons and Dragons will survive and grow in a different way. And you need to have, I hate to say it, you need to have 3 products. You need to have the absolute basic core rule stuff, which is so simple. We take out a lot of the stuff we don't need, and then we have the standard rule core system. Nothing to forget about character options and stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. And then we have all of the variant rules that you can tack on to the standard game. That's what we really need in the game. And that's what we were promised, and we never got it. Will we get it this time round? I don't know.